advise you to get off the streets as quickly as possible. It'll soon be a war up there.
And we are, as a people, opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths.
I know for a fact.
And to secret proceedings.
Weapons of mass destruction.
I have a dream.
I take the threat very seriously.
A new world order.
Your government thanks you for your participation.
You are now listening to the world-famous Sofa King podcast.
Please read from sheets. I am Sofa King.
Sofa King.
Now repeat all very fast, please.
I am Sofa King.
Faster.
I am Sofa King.
No, not so fast. Loses meaning.
I am Sofa King with me, Todd.
You say funny things.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show.
All right.
Yeah.
With a half headphone to dodge the big bell.
All right.
Yeah.
The big bell?
All right.
What's wrong with the big bell, Brent?
I don't know, this turtle bell don't work very well,
That
though.
thing sucks my balls.
Turtle bell don't work. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at the time. It's going to be a late one.
Oh, yeah. All right. Late one here. KUJJ. Yeah.
Wow.
Dave's on, he's got Bell Fury.
Sofa
What's
Kings
a
in the
Bell
morning.
Fury?
Oh, yeah.
It's like Bell palsy, but
What's Bell? You have Bell Fury?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
he's being as annoying as the bells are to him.
Is
what's
it?
happening right now?
No, not at all.
I like all the bells, Dave.
I told you I was going to put the turtle away. That's the last one.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
sure?
Turtle free radio. Oh, yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Time is 1:55. Weather, foggy and gray. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a hot one here.
All right.
It's real muggy outside.
Yeah.
This is your first episode of Sofa King. It's normal. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing
Totally
different.
normal.
Nothing to
new.
see here, folks.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to listen to either.
Nothing. Yeah. Apparently you caused it, Brent.
Starving Chinaman. It's not my fault. People send us bells.
That's not even a bell. That's a fucking...
I mean, how is he going to pass it up, though? He saw this in the Goodwill. That's a very unique bell.
It's turtles all the way down.
Yeah, like
I mean...
we're gonna have a unique whiskey and bell collection.
Whoever built that's a piece of shit.
It just
like they're just it's
Look at-
fucking
Look at
horrible.
that. That's awful.
But if you hit it from the side, that's what
Yeah,
she
but
said.
you shouldn't have to modify a bell
No.
hit. It should work.
Yeah, straight
That's
down.
absolutely horrible.
I don't know what. Yeah, that's why it was in the Goodwill. They gave it away. It
Jesus
doesn't work.
Christ.
I like it.
It's not about
Grapefruit.
fixing it. I don't understand. It's just
Maybe
I think it's hitting low. Like it's hitting this instead of that.
The puncher is like hitting the see,
hitting
it's-
this instead of that.
Maybe, yeah. That's exactly what it's doing. It's ball dropped.
There's no fixing it though.
Yeah, that's true.
It's ball dropped.
Yeah.
You got old.
Yeah, there's
It's
nothing.
hitting, it's hitting the turtle in the knee now
Yeah.
instead of
It
the
happens.
thigh.
Got some danger fields on it.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it. They're inevitable.
Even
No.
brass bells get them.
Even brass turtles get danger.
Yeah.
Hey, there's I never bought any of this crazy underwear. Do your balls go in the hole too, or just your dick goes through the hole and keeps your dick away from your balls?
No, your whole shit. goes
Your
in
balls
there.
and everything?
Yeah.
To keep it off your legs.
Pocket.
The whole
yeah.
package.
I'm gonna try that. That
Yeah.
little balls on the leg thing going on lately, but it's been hot. I think is why. I
Yeah,
don't know.
sticking. Yeah,
Yeah.
it prevents the sticking.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're in their own.
What brand are you still using? Any of
encapsulation.
those?
Yeah, I have some still. They're still good. Actually, I wore some Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah. The what are they? Fuck.
I can't remember. That's what I was trying to think. Little keyhole.
Hot pockets.
It was like
Something like that. Fuck. I don't know why.
Spanx or something. No, what the fuck's
Spanx.
Spanx? What's it called? Some shit like
No.
that.
Spank pockets.
No.
Spank pocket is just a hole in your pocket,
My
so
package.
you can spank it.
My
Yeah,
package.
my
I don't
package.
know. You guys.
My
fucked me
package.
up.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, my
Mine
package.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them like that. They're fucking expensive though. It's like
There's some. The Dungarees make a brand too. The Digidaroos. What are
do
those?
they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
let's see if Amazon has something like that.
They have something.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
My package.
You know what else Amazon has?
Packages.
El Yucateco.
That's correct.
Yeah.
King of flavor since 1968.
Apparently expensive bubbly. That's what-
Well, they also have expensive El Yucateco
Fuck.
on Amazon because
Yeah.
the Amazon market.
It's the shipping. It's not their fault.
No, it's not the shipping. It's the fucking.
Just more
It's the.
expensive.
It's the bullshit that has happened since COVID, where everything is now
Everything's
a chase
expensive.
item. That's decided by the secondary market. Because it's like, I'll search for like what, I mean, I get a lot of my groceries delivered now. Well, I get all my groceries delivered now, but some of them come in the mail. And it's like, I'll go to target.com and everything costs what it should cost. And I go to Amazon,
what it is, I think?
like at target.com, El Yucateco would cost like $1.80 for a bottle.
You know what it
and
is,
on
though,
Amazon,
Dave?
it's like $5.
You know why? Because shipping is fucking expensive. So if you go buy a $2 bottle, it costs $3 to ship it.
Well, no, but if you buy $35 worth of groceries at Target, you get free shipping.
Yeah, but that's Target. That's not
How
fucking.
are they even doing that?
But like
just saying
even on eBay, bottles are $8, $9, $10 a piece. But
it didn't used to be that way on Amazon.
Shipping's gotten more expensive.
Yeah,
though. It has.
I know.
It's gotten more expensive.
But I just like Amazon has just started to fuck people with their price because it's all based on that secondary market now.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Amazon isn't the prime seller anymore.
No.
It's everybody else doing it eBay style, and they can sell it for whatever price they want to.
Yep.
And you can still get really good deals on Amazon, but only if it's being sold by Amazon, and it's getting harder to tell what the difference is.
Yep.
So
The other brand I was thinking was Saks. That's why I said Spanx.
yeah,
There's one called Dreamcatcher. That's fucking retarded.
no, that's bad.
Dreamcatcher.
But the problem is like, there's Sepratech. That's the one I constantly got fucking ads
Nah,
for.
don't get that. That's
one.
horrible.
That one flips up in the front. Have you seen it?
I'd rather have Dreamcatcher
What
than
is happening?
Sepratech.
The Sepratech one. There's like
Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher.
Oh.
there's like the front of it like lifts up like from
No,
the bottom. I was like, I don't.
No,
Oh,
thank you,
they're
Sepratech.
Dreamcatcher.
No, there's one called Dreamcatcher, but then he just said there's one called Sepratech, and I said I'd rather use Dreamcatcher than Sepratech.
Yeah, I think I'm on board with that.
That's fucking awful.
Look at the fucking bulge pictures on Amazon. It's hilarious.
Don't wear them in jiu-jitsu. That's the only thing I have to say.
Yeah.
Because it puts
fucking-
everything up front.
Yeah, it shit gets smashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to wear the jiu-jitsu undies where they push everything back. You just have to get used to them.
Yeah.
This one looks like it just puts your cock, not your balls, out the hole. I don't know.
Yeah,
But it's $54 for 7 pairs. I want to like try a pair. I want to know that I like it.
That's about right.
I guess you can return it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Just
Return it,
throw it
fuck
away.
it.
Fuck,
But I got to
take
pay
it back to Walmart.
$54 to try the.
Take it back to
Right,
Walmart and get a
right.
gift card. You don't need a receipt.
I'm not going to Walmart.
You're
I
going
actually
to
haven't been to Walmart in a long fucking time. Maybe longer than Dave.
Oh,
Maybe.
It's a bold statement.
That is a bold
Wow.
statement.
Longer than a black man. Half black. It's not that bold of a
What's
statement.
happening?
What do you got over there, Dave? A list of patrons?
I do have a list of patrons. Yeah. All right. List of patrons.
Yeah, give it to 'em,
KJJJ.
What? KKKK.
7:40 in the morning, and it's patron time. All
Yeah, I
right.
should probably stop that.
That's the next
Really?
Y2K.
What, KKK?
Yeah.
So,
KKK.
yeah.
So-
we have our patrons. We always want to thank our patrons. You help us do what we're doing. Like we said last time, we recently had a microphone upgrade, and it lets us stay in ramen and whiskey and do a fucking million shippings a week and everything else.
And headphones and stands.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
very,
nice. We got
very,
the cream of
very
the crop
appreciated. And if
You don't
you're
need
interested,
cameras.
yeah, we still need. Yeah.
now. Yeah, don't stop giving. We need cameras.
Yeah,
I meant,
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
we don't have everything
Right,
yet.
yeah, not at all. But for $1, as little as $1 a month, you get the bonus episodes. There's over 100 bonus episodes, so it's worth it. And if you start to give more, you get early episodes. You get the live video stream that people are doing right now, unless you listen to this a year from now, in which case they were doing the live stream a year ago. I don't know.
What we're doing.
I don't know where
Yeah.
you are in time and
Yeah.
space, but
Might
I
be
don't know-
something
I don't know
crazy.
where I'm at
It might be
time
like
space.
live in your living room. stream.
exactly. While we were
Yeah.
recording this, there
Like
were people
Ed
listening
McMahon status.
and watching.
We show up to your house and record an episode
with a giant check. It says
Yeah.
"fuck you" on it.
Yeah,
It's only $1. The
you.
check is big.
Fuck you. Yeah, it says "fuck you." Pay me on
It's
it.
giant though.
Yeah, it's giant. Of course, it's giant.
But anyway, it's patreon.com/Sofa King Podcast. It's hard to search it because they make not safe for work content hard to search on their search engine. But if you search it on the Googles, or if you just go to patreon.com/Sofa King Podcast, you can find it. And we like to give a shout out to several of our patrons by name, by the name they gave us.
Yeah.
Is a better
I don't think they would
statement.
lie to us.
I don't think so either, because our first patron today is named Outdoor.
Yeah, why would you lie about that?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's your name.
Yeah. That's
I could see that with stupid baby names nowadays.
That's a classic
Like, yeah.
Appalachian name.
They were definitely born in the 90s. Yeah.
Classic Appalachian name.
Yeah. They were born in the 90s in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah. His name
Yeah.
is Outdoor. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. He wanted to be a rapper, but he
Yeah.
can't rhyme.
Well, it's supposed to be supposed to be Aldor, but they can't spell.
Yeah. So outdoor. Thank you for your
Outdoor and
patronage.
Dumbledore, his brother.
Yeah. We appreciate it.
Closed door is his sister.
Hodor, his cousin.
Hodor.
Yeah.
Little Game of Thrones joke in there.
Yeah. Apparently, related in their love for the Lorax who speaks for the trees, with outdoor, our next patron, also using their real name, I'm assuming, is Ty Two Trees.
Oh shit! They call him that because he always has the little tree, the smelly trees in his car. He always has the two trees in
and
there.
he hooks them on his belt buckle in front of his junk. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's got to smell good for the first.
You got that
date.
from Monday. You just tie 2 trees on there.
Yeah. Then we have Christopher Castro.
That's he lives here. It's my buddy.
Oh, really?
My buddy Chris Castro. Yeah, Uber Goob. Yeah,
Uber
shout
Goob.
out.
Uber Goob.
Tell us more about Uber Goob.
That's his handle.
Oh,
Is
okay.
it?
Yeah, you can find him on the interwebs.
Does he
Uber
does he
Goob.
like the outdoors?
And it's spelled in leet speak, I believe.
Ooh,
is what-
nice.
yeah.
He's a backwards
no, I don't.
3.
He doesn't. He's
doesn't like the outdoors?
He likes to build them computers and
All
sit in
right.
the house and stare at a monitor.
Respect.
You know,
Nerd.
plays magic. Yeah,
Next we have Alex.
Alex. Yeah,
Could be Marino. Could be
No,
Trebek.
it's not. It's not.
Could be
either.
Trebek.
It's not.
Yeah.
I like
it could
to
be. I think it's
Trebek.
a. I think it's a girl because Alex could be
maybe.
a girl's
Could
name.
be.
Is Alex
Yeah.
okay right now? Trebek?
No, he's dying.
no.
I know he has pancreatic cancer,
Yeah.
but I feel like he's the kind of guy that we just be like, he would just fucking make it through. He would just
No.
will
Alex
himself
Trebek?
to.
No.
Yeah.
No,
You're thinking of Will Ferrell.
What
Alex
I saw
Trebek.
was like, no, I'm not going to make it, but I'm going to do the show as long as I can. Kind of. A
Is he
thing.
still doing the show right now?
I don't know.
Yeah. You know what show Alex is doing? The Donkey Show.
Oh,
This
yeah,
Alex.
yeah.
This Alex.
The
our
new
patron.
donkey
Yeah,
show,
the new
Right.
donkey
like
show.
environmentally
Yeah.
friendly.
Yeah.
Recycled donkey semen, the whole thing.
Yes.
Like, it's not.
Yeah. Well, the Taiwanese are working on that. Yeah. The Taiwanese are working on that. They're cleaning out. You see all the condoms that they're cleaning
Oh
out and
my
reselling?
I don't understand that. How is there a million fucking used condoms that they somehow got a hold of? The
Just fucking got
sewage
it. They
plant?
just fucking
They got
got 'em,
flushed
man.
and they're fishing them out?
Yeah,
that doesn't
reselling
seem
them. People are
economically
buying them on
feasible or
Amazon
reasonable.
too. Marked up. You're buying used condoms on Amazon, you idiots.
Well, it's
Marked up.
economically feasible if there's just like
Yeah.
a giant cesspool where the filtering system dumps all the used condoms and you just
Makes
go
sense.
down there with a shopping cart.
They're getting
and a
them
shovel.
somehow. Or it
And
could
you
be the
just-
whorehouses.
it's
You
free.
fucking.
But to try to clean them, re-roll them, and package them, like how expensive is it to make a fucking
you're talking
condom?
about
about
Taiwan.
You're talking about people who make like fake fruit.
Yeah,
That's true.
Well, that's Chinese. That's Chinese. Those are different people. These are the ones with the lady boys. You know, so they probably have. You go in there, you fuck the lady boys.
That's
Throw your
Thailand,
condom.
not
the same
Taiwan.
difference. All the same.
He tried to correct
make the
it
fake fruit.
and then threw it all away.
I'm
They
not
make the
sure
fake
how you
fruit.
knew it was one and not
yeah,
the other.
yeah. So
I have friends in Thailand.
Yeah, sure you do. What's
Lady boyfriend.
Yeah.
My buddy Steve told me a fucking
Yeah,
crazy story.
Steve's a lady boy.
I took Steve to Joe Rogan and we went to a fucking
Yeah.
comedy store.
That's remember when he didn't call us, Dave?
yeah, and
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
he told me a ladyboy story,
Because
but
I would have gone.
I can't tell because it would reveal too many things.
No,
but
that's fine.
All
That's
he
fine.
said was it was like 2 sausages and saran wrap. I can't say if he touched it, saw it, looked at it, gazed
We know what
upon
he
it.
did.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if the listeners know, but I know what he did.
he was a cool guy.
Yeah. Steve is a cool guy.
Yeah,
Never met him.
so was Joe, but I actually got to hang out with Steve.
And Leah Franzi.
Yeah, Franzi. That one sounds.
Uptight, fucking. She drinks box wine but brags about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she thinks she's
but
cooler
way
than
too
she
much
is.
box wine and the Booney Brothers.
She's like,
stuff.
bitch, calm down. That's box wine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Calm your box.
I do need to point something out though.
hmm.
Last episode, I gave a shout out to Kristen Hensey,
Yeah, hints.
Yeah, only because you pronounced it that way.
Yeah.
spelled exactly like Franzi,
Right.
with
Yeah.
the ZE at the end.
Yeah.
And we
I
didn't say
pronounced them
France.
both identically, and I didn't get any pushback on Franzi, but I got pushback.
That's because we
on
actually
Because
know
we
Kristen
know
Hintz.
Kristen Hintz.
Yeah, she's been a fan forever. Like she's
You've
been
met
listening
her.
since
You
day
met her in
one.
New York.
Hensey.
Hintzy. Yeah, you met her.
Hintz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, you met her in New York.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
Kristen
danced with her.
Hensey.
You
Right.
don't remember dancing with
Right.
her?
But this
And-
pretentious box wine bitch, like, no.
So is her name Leah Franz?
No, it's Frenzy. Franz would be F-R-N-Z.
If it was Frenzy, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That is
I would
cool.
change it to
Frenzy.
Frenzy.
That now it's like a WWE superstar.
Yeah,
Leah
but she's not.
Frenzy.
She's more of a
Yeah.
like stay at home with your cats superstar.
If her name was Frenzy, she just throw a Karen fit like the Tasmanian
Yeah.
devil.
Maybe
She wants to speak to your manager now.
that's her finishing move.
Yeah.
She's speaking to the manager.
Yeah. Where's Paul Bear?
So thank you, patrons. You help make the magic happen, and we do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And if you want other magic to happen in your mouth, then go to podbelly.com.
Oh, I thought you were saying come somewhere else.
No, then where you
I
can
thought you were going to say
learn-
black guys can't be engineers.
Yeah.
I was confused altogether. I mean, if I'm going to get judged, I might as well do it, right?
Yeah.
That's not what you said, though.
No.
No,
It
you
was
said
pretty
some-
awesome.
you guys
You said
made
something
that
about
up.
yeah. You
No.
know,
I was just trying
not-
to- it was a
Everyone
sentence.
else listening was the same. I bet you.
Well,
I
then
bet.
I'm the innocent
Go
one, and screw you guys for being subtly like racist.
Yeah,
You guys-
Hey,
sure you're. so
there was
innocent.
A, you're not innocent, and B, it wasn't subtly racist.
Yeah,
I didn't set that up. That was not my intent.
yeah.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you need to listen to the previous episode
Where I did nothing wrong.
where Brent was super racist about mailmen
Yeah.
at the beginning of the episode.
How not all mailmen are stupid.
Yeah. So, but go to podbelly.com for all your stupid mailman needs.
Some of my best friends are black mailmen, for the record.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I went to high school with a black mailman.
Yep.
They deliver the packages.
720
right,
packages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, we know.
719.
Told
I
us,
tried to squeeze one in.
That's what everyone says. Like, oh, I have a bunch of black friends after they say something racist.
That was the
Yeah,
joke.
yeah.
It's
That's
okay.
Why,
Right.
that's why I said
I know.
that.
I'm clarifying.
I just eye rolled. I can't believe I eye rolled just now. It's on video. I did it.
That's what I say. Yeah,
Wow.
it's on video.
So, like I said, podbelly.com.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that was the
That was
best.
the takeaway.
That was the
Mailman.
best pitch
That's
for
the takeaway.
Podbelly we've ever done. I think.
I agree.
Yeah. So our topic today is the Great Chinese Famine, and I'd never heard of it before. I know this is one that Brad suggested several weeks ago. I wasn't sure
I think
where
so, yeah.
you saw it.
I probably saw it on one of the group posts.
Yeah.
Something.
I always order that when I go to Chinese
Or
food.
maybe
Only
not.
if I'm,
Maybe
if I'm trying to cut
came across
carbs.
it, Yeah.
That's my favorite Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great
It's
Chinese Famine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just bark.
Yeah. So we've talked about a couple of famines. We've talked about the Irish potato famine, and we talked about the famine that Stalin caused. And this is far worse than either of them. But
Pretty bad.
much like both of them, it was made not necessarily worse. It was made by humans.
But
It's man-made.
Like it's
by design.
man-made by
famine,
design,
yeah.
like by
It was-
design famine. There was
It didn't
no-
have to happen.
No, not at
It was-
all.
yeah.
There was no ecological factor that
Yeah.
was like this is why it happened. This was a man-made, both environmentally and just based on government policies of China. And it's something that the Chinese government still doesn't like to talk about.
Yeah.
And we even talked about this at the beginning. Like when I was first, I started to read the Wikipedia.
By the
And-
beginning, you mean before we started recording, we had this conversation upstairs. Yeah.
I started to read the Wikipedia because I like to, usually I'll read the very beginning. I see if the Wikipedia is long enough to be worth it. And then I usually read like the overview on top. And then I go look at just to give me a snapshot. And then I go read other articles and loop back to Wikipedia last. That's usually my approach. And when I was reading the synopsis and some of the stuff at the very top of Wikipedia, I was like, this feels like really edited and controlled.
It was weird and
Like,
not,
it's-
it wasn't linear. Like the
Yeah.
first 2 pages are like, what the fuck is
Weird,
happening?
out of- and it was all sort of pro-China. Like, I don't know, not in a super overt way, but we've done enough episodes and I've looked at enough Wikipedia pages to run into one every so often that's like, this doesn't
Like
look like
Scientology.
This one's doctored up.
It's
yeah.
like, this is weird in
Yeah.
some way I can't
At
put my
some point.
finger
At
on.
some point, when you have enough power and you're able to edit
Yeah.
media,
Right.
like that's what's happening,
And
and,
whoever
it
did,
does happen.
Whoever did this one was smart though, because all the stuff at the beginning that was sort of pro-China, they didn't do it, etc. 20 pages down, because it's a
Yeah.
really long Wikipedia entry, like the counter argument is there much stronger, but it's like it was smart
Yeah.
enough because most people aren't going to read down that deep,
like I had said, it probably got started by somebody that put it in there that was kind of like, oh, this is the overview I got from China. You know what I mean? Like that I got from this website, and it was this, and that's what ended up. But then more people added to the Wikipedia.
But normally when that happens, though, they move that section down, so it's all unit. But it was anyway. Just like, it was a weird Wikipedia.
China owns
page,
Wikipedia.
but China still doesn't like this topic.
We own TikTok. They own Wikipedia.
That's
we have
right.
the U.S. TikTok, baby.
One of the main reasons that we know about it, and I'll say a little bit more about this particular thing later in the podcast, is a book called Tombstone, and it's not that Tombstone. There's no huckleberries.
I'll be your huckleberry.
There's no huckleberries.
There's dingleberries.
There's dingleberries. But there's a book called Tombstone that was written by a guy named Yang Zhisheng. Fairly recently.
They call him Big Yang.
Yeah, they do. Big Yang, not Little Yang.
Hang too low.
Yeah. But he was a journalist, and he wrote this book. And he was really one of the first people to do in-depth research about this. He was able to access things that most people couldn't access as far as files went, and we'll go more into it. But a lot of what's in Wikipedia, like most quotes on that page, are from his book. And when you start to search this, about every other article you run into is someone doing it was like part of the publicity whirlwind of his book release fairly. And I don't know how long ago the book came out, but it looked within the last couple of years. But it was everybody just interviewing this guy and talking to this guy. But he experienced it, and he wrote about it in depth. So a lot of what we know comes from him. But so the lowest estimate that you see in the course of 3 years. So the famine was from 1959 to 1961.
Yep.
So, and again, it dawned on me because the last episode we did was the Hill alien abduction. And I was like, they're fucking like piecing out to Niagara Falls with $70 in their pocket to have a fucking honeymoon and fuck around.
Millions
at the same year that millions of people. So the lowest estimate that China has published is that in these 3 years, 6 million people died of starvation.
Which is wrong,
right?
Probably.
The lowest estimate that isn't the Chinese government that I saw was 15 million. Most people settle on a number between 26 and 30 million, and a handful of more recent scholars put it at closer to 45 million because they're counting not just people who starved,
people that weren't born,
but they're not even counting that. That's counting the people who starved and the people that the Chinese government murdered, suppressed, and relocated to keep a cover up of the famine.
I was confused because I saw a lot of this factored in, or did not factor in those just who were not born, because they estimate the population.
Well, no, it
growth.
said the same, because it talks about the 45 million. Actually, the article that said that about the people that weren't born was talking about 30 million, and it said that 30 million was the same number of births that were lost. So there were 30 million people that died, and then another 30 million stillborn babies or postponed babies because we're all starving to death. We're not going to have a baby, or we lost our baby because we're starving to death. So 30 million dead, 30 million no babies. But then the other is like 15 million people that the Chinese government disappeared because you wrote a letter to your governor and said, we're all starving here. So the secret police come and round you and your entire family up and either murder you, drag you to a labor camp, like something, because you can't get the word around that,
and or just
dying.
the change in social structure based off of them restructuring society into communes and taking away your individual right to your farm or property.
Right.
You're not going to seek a wife at the commune to try to make a family. You're going to fucking dig the fucking hole they told you to do, eat at the cafeteria and go to sleep and do it again.
Right.
So just that factor would affect it, let alone stillborn, let alone murder, let alone all the other shit that's happening, dying and not being able to procreate.
And I know their population, greatly outnumbers America, but that's
it would have been, though. Think what it would have been if that had
That's
happened.
like losing a sixth of America in 3 years. 1 in 6 people in America dying of starvation. That's how many people they lost in 3 years. It's fucking mind-blowing. Way worse than Stalin.
Over kind of some of it was blind, fear, you know what I mean? Forcing you to do that. And some of it just because of fear, not reporting, information back accurately to make adjustments appropriately.
Yeah. So all part of this is Mao Zedong, who we should do a show on. I really don't know anything about him except he did horrible things while he ran China. And he was sort of I know he had a lot to do with, I'm pretty sure he had a lot to do with Vietnam and China kind of infiltrating the Cambodia and supporting Vietnam during the Vietnam War. I think he was in that, like dipping. I can't imagine he wasn't dipping his toe in that. But I mean, if he was responsible for this famine, I can't even imagine the other shit he was responsible for. And I know a lot of people have requested him as a topic over the years, but we've never. I mean,
his intent is to advance industrialization and start producing steel and whatnot.
Right. So
he thinks like, hey, as you would honestly, like on paper, if I have control over these variables, I'll have these people do this, and like chess, he's going to move this stuff around.
Right.
But everyone's afraid of failing, so they don't give him the right information.
Right. So his thing was, he called it the Great Leap Forward or the Great Step Forward, depending on the translation you read. But he wanted to, he vowed to build what he called a communist paradise in China. And he started the Great Leap Forward in 1958, and like Brent said, he wanted to like China was still just like agrarian agriculture, etc. There was no industry, there were no factories, there was like that didn't exist yet. The China that we think of today,
which is crazy
these giant
to think where they're at.
In 1961, these cities of tens of millions of people that do nothing but produce material, none of that existed pre-Mao. But he saw steel as the answer. He looked at the U.S. steel economy. He looked at the British steel economy, and he was like, which I think was simplifying things. He was like, the U.K. and Britain are so successful because they make all this steel.
Well, they're able to build.
Yeah, but
it's one of
it
those.
takes a little
he
bit
would
more than
need
just the
steel
steel, but
to go ahead and make all the buildings,
to make the factories, to do all that stuff. So he decides to do this, and he makes this mobilization of the population in just a couple of years. And he it's so weird. Like his decisions were so weird. So he takes tens of millions of peasants who are currently working in the fields, and he orders them to mine local deposits of iron ore and limestone, to cut trees and make charcoal, and to build clay furnaces so they can make steel in their backyards.
Because he's based it off of some kind of like Russian fucking strategy where they were going to plant crops more closely together, more dense and at deeper depths. So he thought his output was going to be greater. So like they closed this, they tripled the spacing, the proximity of the spacing, and
close planting theory,
and then doubled that. And in thinking that that there was similar species would not compete with each other, but it like didn't work.
Didn't work. So they had a horrible yield, and then they also had the deep plowing,
right? Which I was familiar with that already.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that was they theorized that if you planted the seeds deeper than you normally did, they would hit nutrients. They would, but really all you were doing was planting them down into a level of rocks and sand where there weren't any nutrients. So they were like, we can pull all these people off agriculture and have them make steel, because we have these new techniques to do agriculture, which were completely untried techniques, and they all failed. So the crops that this handful of people that were supposed to be able to be more effective were all failing. And then to get them to make metal, none of these people knew how to mine. They didn't know how to smelt. They didn't know how to make steel. So what they were making was the worst cast iron on earth.
And it was all unusable.
It was completely unusable. So he's trying to get all these people to make steel. It's like he didn't build steel factories and make steel. He had peasants build clay ovens.
Smelting metal.
It's like it just didn't fucking work.
Yeah, it was all unusable.
It was like it just fucking strike one, strike two, strike three.
You're out.
So
and it was self-perpetuating because and then like the people that locally were supposed to report back were saying they were inflating the numbers, going like, oh yeah, everything is fucking great. And so by that he said, okay, well then reflectively I should be able to take and reallocate this manpower and refocus over here because we have a surplus of grain now.
And part of that, one of the articles I read referred to that as the superabundance. And yeah, so everybody was so afraid of Mao that all the local provinces, all those small time government people that were like, because you all have to, there's no internet, there's no computer network. It's like every small township has to report in on their corn yield.
So they would inflate it.
Right. Because they were afraid of
they'd be like, fix it or I'll kill you.
Right.
And I'll put
right.
someone who can do it. And so
Right.
they're like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to lie like that dude lied. I'll
Yep.
tell them we have more than we have.
So they exaggerated. They said some of them were saying that they had their harvest 2 to 4 times their true size. So he's getting all this feedback from all these people, and he's like, well, fuck it. You know, so A,
It's
I can
working.
keep moving more people to steal. Yeah. B, my cockamamie fucking agriculture theories are working. And the fields that are actually producing grain and food that we need, we can start making cotton and tobacco and things that we can sell on the market to make more money for the country. So it's just like this clusterfuck.
That's what I'm saying. It was all self-perpetuating. For the one, like, it's not totally his fault because he was getting misinformation.
No, yeah.
And then when
I
he
was just
went to
gonna say that.
visit the ag sites, they would like hustle in 24 hours and send like thousands of people around to go get the seedlings
Yeah.
that they did have from surrounding crops, and then
Bring them in.
put them in and transplant them the day he was going to be there into these fucking crops, so that when he showed up, he would see
Everything
this amazing,
looks
beautiful
good.
crop.
It's kinda like
They
North
had
Korea in
robbed
the front they put
Yes.
on, yeah.
It was like the grocery stores
Yeah.
in North Korea when people visit. So then
Yeah.
he'd show up and see it. He's getting the misinformation. Like Dave said, he's like, well, fuck it. We got plenty of grain. Let's start growing tobacco and this other bullshit.
why would other people do that shit? Like, I don't understand.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why the blame still falls on him, not the regional governors. He ruled in a way that made
Made them-
everyone
yeah, they were
do that
afraid.
because they thought they were going to be murdered if they
Right.
told him the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're all stroking his ego and lying to him so that they're not fucking eradicated.
We'll deal with this
and their
famine.
entire family is
Yeah.
killed. Yeah. So,
or they're like, the other guys are like, fuck it, the plants are already here. We're just going to keep them.
And on top of that, he starts filling, export orders
Yeah,
and what to
yeah.
sell the grain that he doesn't even really
When-
have. Like he's
when
gonna
they
sell
need it, yeah.
everything they have because he thinks they have 5 times as much as they have.
Yeah.
right. So the other thing is they created a thing, and I saw a very short video, but I have it in the show notes, called the 4 Pests campaign, where, and this was another big factor. Again, and this is a weird famine because it was so fucking virulent and it killed so many people, but there's so many things to point to of why this happened. It was just the perfect storm of fucking bad ideas and horrible actions
Oh, yeah.
to make this happen. So the 4 pest campaigns, they wanted to destroy through all of China, completely eradicate mosquitoes, flies, rats, and sparrows.
And you get
is not
like
really that
mosquitoes,
good.
like, okay, yeah, it feels like
Because
yeah.
you get locusts. With the sparrows are gone, you get locusts.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But they had a thing, and you can see it in this video. They discovered that if you took drums and pans and banged them together where all the sparrows were, and you had a bunch of people, which what the fuck else are they doing? They're not
They would
growing
never
crops.
land.
They would never land, and they would just, if you just kept screaming and banging drums and pans and chasing the flocks of sparrows, they would
Yeah.
just start to die of exhaustion and fall from the sky. So
shit.
he was giving out weapons and guns. So they were shooting sparrows. They were banging until the sparrows died. They were killing all the rats. They were killing all the sparrows. And then surprise, guess what? And other birds as well. They were eradicating other birds, but sparrows were the primary target. But it turned out that the sparrows were like one of the main things keeping locusts at bay.
Yeah.
And,
And
now that
other small
And other
insects.
small
Yeah.
insects.
Yeah.
So now all the sparrows are dead and all the insects are just annihilating the crops that aren't
Yeah.
growing that
I read
well
a-
anyway.
I read an
You know?
article. It was on was it Al Jazeera or something. It was talking about one of the guys who lived through it, and he said that because there were no sparrows, the locusts were in abundance, and he was so hungry he would just run out to the field and gather the locusts to eat them.
Oh, I bet.
It
Yeah, I
ate
bet.
sparrows, I guess. It probably
Well,
did.
no, but
probably
the sparrows
did.
were gone at that
Might have been
point.
too late, yeah.
And you even see, like in the video, you just see carts, like fucking horse-drawn
Well, it hit-
carts full of
Yeah.
dead sparrows.
And it hit different, like it hit different areas different. So like I was reading like some places, like they didn't even know because of the information was so squashed, they didn't know that a famine was coming. And they're like, we have plenty of food here, like this and that. And then like fast forward 3 years, everybody's fucking starving,
Right.
and there's all kinds of people dying.
Or like
you
a
know?
city is literally starving to death, and the next city over
is fine.
doesn't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
Like no one can even know that this is happening, right? So another factor is there's a huge flood on the Yellow River, and the Yellow River floods. And again, most people that look back at it now, they're like, it wasn't flooding because torrential rains. It was flooding because of horrible decisions on how we're dealing with agriculture.
Yeah.
He was telling them to dam up certain waterways and try to divert water to drier areas. But by doing so, like the flood had access to like places it wouldn't have normally gone.
Well, and the Chinese story too is that they had like 3 years of bad weather that eradicated the crops.
Right.
You know,
which is
like,
complete bullshit.
Yeah, it's all
which
bullshit.
Is complete
you know?
bullshit.
But they stick by it to this day.
Yeah, to this day, they
call everything else a
changed the
lie.
name though, because it was called the three.
No, it's like the difficult years.
They called it the drought years or something like that at first.
Yeah.
But then they changed it to the difficult.
It was the 3 years of natural disaster, and
That's
after
right.
post 1981, it was the 3 years of difficulty.
Right. So they at least changed the term. But
Yeah.
so the Yellow River floods, something like 741,000 people were flooded.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see a lot of bad flooding in America and in Europe and
Yeah,
whatever.
it
I can't
happens.
think of a flood that hit 740,000 fucking people, dude.
Yeah.
Like 1,708 villages were destroyed. 500,000 acres of cultivated fields were drowned in the flood. And then the worst part of it was the response was, we're going to get 2 million workers and we're going to send them to sandbag and stop the flood. But what did those 2 million workers do originally?
They pulled them from the farms.
Yeah, they pulled them from the handful of farms that were producing to stop the flooding. That was so basically we sent 2 million farmers to stop flooding from destroying a handful of farms.
Right.
Like we should have just let those farms go and kept these 2 million farmers, dude.
They spent $1 to save a penny.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
They fucked up.
Like, yeah, they completely fucked up.
And so those crops got neglected, which, like you said, they were already underproducing because of improper planting techniques. And then insects were decimating the fucking crops.
Yeah.
And then they fucking didn't get taken care of because they pulled them off the fucking crops.
Right,
so the little bit of food that's fucking left, while they're harvesting, they're
Yeah.
eating it. The fucking people start eating the
Yeah.
fucking crops.
Well, yeah,
there's
they're starving.
Yeah, there's no, like, they're
You're not going to grow food. Yeah.
and not eat it. They're used to having small farms that they would basically feed their family and self-sustain. If they had any excess, they would sell that portion at market.
right.
And so they're used to that food that they grow just being theirs.
And another thing that was weird, and I didn't see a big elaboration on this, was they talked about those the communal living that they were trying to get to happen throughout rural China. And they said that the communal living, like part of it was they would, like when the community got together, they had like big feasts, and that they produced and ate far more food than they needed to
Because of the style.
because of the style of living and because of the fake reports that were coming in. So all these communal livings were known to just have feasts and squander
Glutton.
food. And as were, let's not even, the upper ranking members of the party never suffered from the famine.
Right.
They all got to eat whatever they fucking needed to eat. But
they
that
said
was another
even
factor.
though even that flood wasn't even as bad as they say. Like, I mean, it was more to do with the diversion of water.
Right.
That like in the following years and years prior, I mean, it was the worst flood since 1933, but there were like subsequent floods following that were just as bad or worse, but
They
didn't
didn't
cause the
impact
fucking
the-
same
yeah.
issue. And it wasn't so much about like, even though they were in the midst of famine and the supply had dropped by 30-40% of food, it was more about like logistics and procurement of delivering the food to the proper places because they don't have the channel of communication and there's deception
Yeah.
as to what's
Nobody
actually going on.
knows. Yeah.
Right.
Like if they had just like admitted it and fucking forget about saving face and pride, they could have just changed the glutton food and spread it out.
And also keep in mind, you're talking about like a rural agricultural country. There probably weren't even like big freeways and distribution centers. So
No.
it's like if you do have an abundance of wheat in this one province,
Get it
there's
from here to
literally
there. You
no
can't get
way
it
to
there.
get. It's like he didn't need to be having people make shitty steel in their backyards.
And make roads.
He needed to make roads. Yeah, exactly. He needed roads and gas stations and airports and fucking communications in order to make the country.
Yeah, because they were
run
still
better.
living in villages.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
It was
Mostly, yeah.
and I mean, I'm sure they were kind of more brick and mortar type homes, you know, or
It
wood
depends on
and
the village.
stuff
And
like
and
that.
there were
But yeah,
still
you
major
probably
metropolitan areas.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the
Yeah, you had
freeway they
big
built around the
buildings
man in
and-
China? There was like some article about this guy who refused to sell. I was like, oh, it's China. Why did they stomp him out? But they fucking like built a freeway around this guy's little house, and it's in the middle of a fucking freeway because he refused to move. So they just like fucking.
Did they give him an on-ramp?
No, he's like stuck in a hole. Like he has to crawl out of this fucking thing onto the freeway to go do anything. It was more of a fuck you.
Right.
But I feel like China would have just been like, I'm fucking just dragging your ass out of here. You're gonna die tonight.
Yeah, you'd think so.
You know, oh, you got poison rice tonight. Like
Right,
something
yeah,
would happen. But they
yeah.
built a freeway around him. It's kind of funny.
yeah.
So again, to make sure that Mao isn't really let off the hook of this, in 1958, he said, to distribute resources evenly will only ruin the great leap forward. When there's not enough to eat, people starve to death. It's better to let half the people die so that others can eat their fill.
Or
so
them.
it's like, yeah, others meaning
Yeah,
the members of the
yeah,
Communist
fuck.
Party. So like,
Or I meant eat them when they
eat
die.
that. Yeah. So he knew developing this plan, like millions of people are going to starve to death and die, and I don't care because this is the price of moving
and that's,
China
and
forward.
that's almost the same as Stalin.
Yeah.
Like it's the
Yep. Well, it says, I
same
mean,
type
it's
of thing.
every article said he took from Stalin's playbook. He wanted to
Yeah.
upgrade industrialization. He wanted to, like, everything he was doing. I mean, he's looking at Soviet Russia. He's like, we're way the fuck bigger than they are. We should be the powerhouse,
Yeah.
not them. And he started to kind of do that. So again, the not weather thing, they talk about the fact that there was a drought. And this is the thing that was like really upplayed at the top of the Wikipedia page. But there was a drought of 1960. And one of the articles I read said that it would have lowered grain supply in the worst affected provinces, but by itself, it would have caused only a small fraction of the eventual nationwide death toll. It talked about the fact that this drought that they point to, you know, the Chinese government was like, this drought is why everyone died. And a lot of scholars say, well, it was about 70% man-made and 30% could be attributed to the drought or to the floods. But then more recent scholars are like, I'm not even giving it 30% for the drought and the floods. Because they
your
said
man-made dams and irrigation.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of it was fucking.
Because they said that there was a
They're doing-
much more serious drought in 55, 63, and from 65 to 67. None of them added to famine in
Plus,
China.
you can't have a drought and a flood. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Come on, buddy. You got so
Right,
much.
that's true.
You complain about having too much water, but you don't have enough water.
Right.
Well, you can.
it's just
Though.
the
I mean,
wrong
I can
spots.
understand
Yeah,
how,
yeah.
like, well, you have a drought, everything dies off. You don't have any like foliage around,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you get water, and it just fucking runs off everywhere and fucks everything up. Like
The water
I mean,
was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
wrong place at the wrong time.
And it said, like in that book Tombstone, he interviewed a guy from 1958.
Kurt Russell.
And yeah, it was Kurt Russell. He interviewed him.
that guy.
And he said, we
I
give
forgot Brad hates Kurt Russell.
we give whatever figures the upper level wants.
Yeah.
Right.
So when they wanted the national narrative to be there's a drought, every small governor was like, oh, drought's fucking us up, chief. Like, you got
Yeah.
it. Sure is a drought, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like they want this drought narrative and they get it from all around
Yeah.
China because no one's dumb enough to be like, nope, no drought here. You know, no, we're not dying because of the drought. We're dying because of you dumbasses.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to say that. They're going to be like, yep, it's the drought.
Like Monsanto's third-party testing.
That's crazy. It's
Right.
crazy
Yeah,
that
like,
it's
we
crazy
didn't
that
cause the cancer.
Yeah.
It wasn't us.
it's crazy that many people just fucking are like, okay, you know, like fucking sheep, you know.
What are you gonna do?
Like,
Like they're wearing
I don't know,
clothes
you
that
would
they
think-
made in a hut that they made in the middle
I
of the
don't know.
fucking
You
dirt
would think
with
that
no.
there would be enough like bigger provinces to be like, nah, fuck this shit. Like,
Well, the bigger
you know,
provinces probably had the food.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, when you've got a bigger province and you actually have an industrialized area, a city of 1 million people,
Yeah, maybe.
they've all got food and gas because they need
Probably
to
be
keep
more
doing.
like 50 million. Yeah, that's a small city.
Right,
you know?
right.
And you're sitting there with like a fucking like a rake and a hoe that you made. Like they're gonna come through and stomp
Yeah, but
your ass.
yeah, I don't know. It's
They'll
it's
kill
crazy.
you, you know?
I guess looking at the numbers, like we hear 36 million, and we're like, damn, that's fucking crazy. That's like so much of the American population,
Right.
but in China, that's a fucking
Yeah, it's a smaller
tidbit.
percentage
Like
for sure.
It's just a
For sure.
You know, that's
So-
But I mean, not that that's not a lot.
Yeah.
Like, obviously that's a fucking ton.
Right.
But in percentages of people, like, and he might have looked at it like that too. He's like, how many have died?
Right.
Ah, fuck. That's.
I
not-
mean, it'd probably be
We
like,
got
say, in
plenty.
America,
Those are the
like
weak ones.
300,000 died of the starvation. Like, that's not nearly as bad
Yeah.
as 45 million. You know?
yes. Yeah.
So a professor from Manitoba University, he said that all of the man-made famines, and he says it's no different here, come from three things. And he says it's omission. He needs to rhyme. He's got fucking, I don't know.
Transition.
Omission, commission, and provision. And he said that China is no different. So the omission is China's rulers failed to acknowledge the famine
Yeah.
and ask for outside aid from the rest of the world.
True.
Like they didn't let anyone know that there was a famine going on.
They didn't even ask their own ruler for aid.
Right.
Yeah.
But even once
Let
the
alone-
ruler knew there was a famine going on,
He didn't ask
He
for
never
help.
went to
Yeah.
the United Nations. He never went to Soviet Russia. He never went anywhere else and asked for food. So the omission kept people dying, and that was part of it in the
Prideful
Irish.
people,
that
it's
was the
like-
potato famine too, right?
Yeah.
think so.
Like everybody was dying of starvation, and they wouldn't acknowledge
No
it
one
or
wants to
ask
admit
for
that they're
foreign aid.
fucking up
Right,
over here. Yeah.
The-
Matt D. Adams on the live feed just said that in Michigan, the deer population won't eat the Monsanto corn. So what does that fucking say about that shit?
Yeah, that's
Something's going
crazy,
on.
dude.
Fucking deer won't eat the
Yeah.
corn. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Don't eat the corn then.
So he said that the commission was the fact that they took away all the means of private food production, which was when they made them go onto communes and shut down family farms. And then they forced them to do acts of commission. Like, you're now growing this food not to feed your family. You're growing this food and giving it to me, and then we're shipping it
We'll
elsewhere.
give you a little
and
bit
selling
back.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Even down to the fact that they would confiscate cooking utensils. And I saw that early on, like when the Great Leap Forward happened, they were going all through China and they were taking all metal that they considered unnecessary
And melting it down.
and melting it down. And I as soon as I saw that, I instantly thought about Kung Fu Panda 2, because that's part of the storyline in Kung
Oh,
Fu
really?
Panda 2.
I haven't seen it.
Is like the Peacock Emperor is going all through China and taking all of the steel, like musicians, like a bell in a town.
So maybe
like-
that's the background of this,
Exactly. I was like,
yeah.
is that where
Oh,
they
yeah.
got that from?
That's totally
Because
where
they
they
were
got
taking
that.
all of the metal and melting it down to make cannons and whatever. But I was like, is this little Kung Fu Panda 2? Are they like throwing some shade at China right now?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. But and then provision was, they said that they provided food for the cities and territories they considered important, and they provided food for the people that were members of the Communist Party and that were higher ups, and
Yeah.
that everybody else
Well,
would
there
die.
was laws against, well, I don't laws, but people who were of higher rank or like importance were able to have children. So like if you were like the secretary of the fucking whatever,
Right. You could
your
have
wife
kids.
could have a kid.
Yeah.
As opposed, and if you're just like normal blow Joe, it's like nobody's having babies at all. So that's where they accounted all those babies that should have been born,
Right.
and weren't, because they were having like one person in an entire province would have a kid,
Right.
or a couple. Like there'd be a couple
Yeah,
born.
yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah, so it's
pyramids in
fucking
China the
crazy.
size of Giza
Yeah, there are
pyramids.
pyramids
and they just fucking
everywhere.
plant trees all over them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we'll never know what the fuck's going on in there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
are there hieroglyphics in there? Is
Probably.
it Chinese writing or is
Yeah,
it
who
Egyptian style
knows,
writing?
dude?
What the fuck
Who
is in there?
knows?
We
Yeah.
won't know. Won't fucking know.
Egypt could have been huge.
Yeah, who knows what the fuck?
Could have been part of Egypt.
Right. So that book Tombstone, where we get a lot of this information, again, there's a guy named Yang Jiaxing, and it's kind of a crazy story. So he worked for the state news agency in China, like much more recently, right? I mean, he'd worked there for years. It took him, he said that it took him 30 years to write this book.
Damn.
And he said that he started, like, he would just be doing an interview about whatever, some random story for the state newspaper, and some official would just be at a cocktail party and just mention, like, in my region 300,000 people died from the famine, and he'd be like, what the fuck? And like, he would take a mental note and write it down.
Right.
And just bit by bit doing stories, he started to kind of go, like, it wasn't a drought. Like, this was bad. Like, people were dying in droves all fucking over the place, and none of us know about this, right? So he started to piece this stuff together, and then he said it took him about 10 years to kind of snap out of it and realize, no, there was a horrible famine here that none of us know about.
That's crazy that was repressed at that level.
Oh, yeah,
no one even knew. The world did not know.
And then for the next 20 years, he started to gather facts and put his books together while he, like, in his office at the state news agency. And he said, and at one point, one of the reporters said, "Did your fellow reporters know what you were working on?" And he said, "Oh, absolutely. Everyone knew what I was working on, and everybody wanted me to work on it, but no one said a word."
Yeah, because if they don't say anything, he's working on. If he gets away with it, the information will get out. If not, he dies. Nobody else does.
Exactly. I hope you get a chance to finish
Please
this.
get it out there.
Like,
yeah.
but I don't know. I don't fucking know anything about
Yeah.
it. Like, I'm not helping. I
Yeah.
never saw it. Like nothing at all.
Fuck
Right.
yeah.
So he said that when he was 18, he's 72 when he writes this. When the book
What's the
comes
guy's
out.
name that wrote the book?
Yang Jiaxing.
Okay.
So he was 72 when the book came out, when the American translation of the book came out, which I guess is a lot shorter. The book in China was far more detailed. And once it came out, he said that there were publishers, like underground publishers in China, that were just Xeroxing and giving the book out. And there were like black market copies of the book going out. And like the publishers were asking, like, were telling him about it. And he was like, "That's fine. Don't stop it." Like, China needs to know. Like, if we make money, that's fantastic. But if not, and we can if this province can send out 100 illegal copies of the book,
everything
like,
we know
let
is
them
based
fucking
off
do
of
it.
that guy, though. I mean, I'm sure they've dug in now, and
Yeah, they've
there's
dug in
some
now, but he was
validity.
No, there's another guy. The guy I saw, his name's Mao Yushi.
There's a couple out there. Yeah, I read his
There's
article
more and more
too, yeah.
people coming out. Like,
But he wasn't even necessarily the first one to publish about it, but I think he was the first one to really be researching about it.
Yeah.
And because he worked at the state news agency, he was able to go do stories in some rural, village in the middle of nowhere. And while he was there, he could go to their record keeping and be like, "I'm with the state news agency. I need to check out.
He could get access.
I need to check out
yeah.
your weather reports and crop reports, for the last 20 years."
He could get access that other people
Yeah,
couldn't.
so he got access to stuff that would be classified. But since there was no central computer hub, or it was all just these rural places with handwritten notes in a filing cabinet, he was able to go copy all that stuff and start to paint this picture of exactly the scope of what was happening.
Yeah, I know part of my notes I was reading about this guy was going village to village and just seeing hundreds of, like, he lived through it, just hundreds of dead bodies just everywhere and people just disregarding it, to the point that he said something about, like, there were rumors of people eating dogs. And he said, well, that's a lie, because there were no dogs left. They were eaten long ago.
Yeah.
Like,
that was that was actually like a local governor.
Yeah.
And he said that he was piecing together the facts that there was a famine because he would go to different villages within his governorship.
Right. That was it.
And
yeah.
see hundreds of dead bodies lined up everywhere. And and then at one point they said,
like rumors of eating dogs, and that's not true.
and
The
they were
dogs
like,
have been eaten long ago.
because
I wonder if they ate dogs before that, or is that like, they were like, hey, we tried it. There was a famine. We tried it. We
tried
like
it. It wasn't
now,
bad.
Now we do
Yeah.
it.
It's
I don't
kind of
know.
crazy because, like, they say that, like, China going back all the way to like 1827 has had famines every, like, so often,
Right.
That they kill 13 million, 6 million, like, every year.
Crazy.
They have some sort of famine. So I wonder how many of those are more
Things
like
this.
this.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they're saying they're all due to drought and stuff like that.
Well, I
Like,
think because prior, like you said, there was villages, an agrarian
Yeah.
like society, like it wasn't modern, and now that's not going to happen. Not based off of that.
Well, I'm just saying though, like, I'm wondering, like,
They were
they're saying there's
susceptible
all
to it.
kinds of drought happening, and how many of those were also man-made.
Well, the only
by
reason like California is
rulers
not
and
a
shit.
total desert is because we pump water all over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So like if we didn't pump that water all of a sudden, it would just fucking dry up and we couldn't have any of the ag we have here. It would just be a fucking desert. So
But it's also, I mean,
living
again,
in villages, they have no control over
Yeah,
it.
you have to
but-
picture the small village with no paved road in the middle of fucking nowhere that relies on this one crop only to stay alive.
and you roll with
sudden-
nature. There's no sprinkler. It fucking rains or it doesn't.
There's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere to get there if there was. There's no support
Yeah.
from the government. You're just going to fucking starve to death.
Yeah, you're not going to go get a pitcher or a bowl and fucking go to the creek and fucking like
No.
carry bowls of water to water your crop. I mean, you can try, but like you have to wait for it to rain. There's seasons. There's a special time. Like it's crazy.
No, I understand that.
I'm just saying
I
that
wonder
loud
how-
because it's like wild to have to depend on that like that.
Yeah, but everything was like that.
I know.
I mean, when you live,
Now we have
when you're in the third
irrigation,
world,
yeah.
But again,
type
by
situation,
1950s, 1960s, you know,
everywhere in the world had some sort of. Oh, I guess not everywhere, but like
you
America,
know,
was
America,
already,
the UK, Europe, like
Yeah.
there were systems in place.
Russia,
you know. So, and again, one of the things that made this stick out and made him realize how important it was that he wrote this book is that when he was 18, he went away to school and he was learning how to be a newspaper writer. And someone barged into one of his classes and said, "Your father is dying of starvation." And his father lived back in whatever village that they lived in. So he left school, got a bunch of rice, you know, from the university, got food, rushed home. And when he got there, he said there were no dogs, no chickens. All the trees were stripped of bark because everybody had been eating all the bark. And he got there and his father was still alive and he made rice for him and the other family members, but that his father was so far gone that he couldn't eat any of it. And then 3 days later, he died of starvation. So, and he thought it was just this, you know, oh, this town dried up and had a problem. But once he started, you know, several decades later, when he was like, fuck, this is
Digging
happening
into it,
everywhere. That was what stuck in it. And it made it worth the risk because he could have gotten killed for doing this research, you know?
Eating the bark on trees, man.
Yeah,
That's like
dude.
the Great Depression stories about wallpaper, horse glue.
Well, you see, I
belts.
mean, even in today's time, like, I mean, I know we don't talk about current events, but like the COVID shit, like people are missing in China for saying stuff, or
Right, for
like
sure.
people want to come out and say things and they're just gone.
Right.
Like, what the fuck's happening to them? Well, the government, you know, that, and they've been doing that shit for fucking ever.
So one of the things that he said in the book, a quote from the book, was people died in the family, talking about people, not his family, but families in general. People died in the family and they didn't bury the person because they could still collect their food rations. They kept the bodies in bed and covered up the corpses, and they were eaten by mice. People ate corpses and fought for the bodies. In Gansu, they killed outsiders. People told me strangers passed through and they killed and ate them, and they ate their own children.
Yeah.
Like the entire city just got into the habit of, if someone comes through town,
They turned into
we
cannibals.
just kill them and split the meat.
Was it Stalin or the Battle of Stalingrad we talked about? Like they would sell their children for meat to the neighbors and shit?
That was the Stalin.
That was the
starvation.
famine.
I can't
Famine and
imagine.
Stalin.
I can't-
They're
it's, like,
eating. Remember the
unimaginable.
neighbors' kids never came
Yeah.
home from school, and the fucking neighbors ate them and shit.
Right. And they were like
Yeah.
letting the neighbors eat the kid because they couldn't do it. And then when the neighbor's kid died, they'd eat their kid.
Yeah, it was sharing.
That's horrific. That
Yes.
is like
Yes.
unthinkable. Like
it doesn't
hell
even
on
seem.
earth.
It doesn't even seem real.
No.
Like it doesn't even seem like that could happen.
it's the
You know?
road. It's like that fucking
Yeah.
terrifying
Yeah.
thought. That's oh my god.
So some of his accounts in the book, in a town called Xinyang, more than 1 million people, 1 in 8, died of starvation in 3 years. So 1 million people in one city. In barely 9 months, in one single commune that he looked into, in 9 months, 12,000 people died in one commune.
And he's looking at records, right? He goes
looking
back
at
and he's
records,
checking
yeah.
out, like, because they're still keeping record of who's dying.
Right. In that same commune where 12,000 people died, 13 children begged officials for food and were dragged deep into the mountains where they were left to die from exposure and starvation. So their parents have died. They report to the government that they're starving to death. The government rounds them up and puts them in a truck, drives them up to the top of a mountain, kicks them out, and drives back.
Why not
where
just
they
kill them?
starve
That
to
seems like
death.
a lot of work to make them
I
starve to
don't
death
know.
and like cruel.
A teenage orphan killed and ate her 4-year-old brother.
Oh my god.
44 of one village's 44 of the 45 inhabitants died, and the last woman went irrevocably insane.
Because she
People were-
probably ate somebody like this.
Probably, yeah. People were tortured, beaten, and buried alive for declaring realistic harvests and refusing to hand over what little food they had to the government. So the government would beat you, torture you, or bury you alive if you honestly reported your crop yields, because you had to artificially inflate them.
Yeah, they're none. Yeah, I'm just
yeah.
What did none?
Or you'd
Zero?
get murdered if you stole some portion of the food that was supposed to go to the Communist Party leaders.
You saw the thing about the guy stealing the sweet potato?
No.
Some guy, where's it at? This guy steals a sweet potato, and they take him and cover him in urine, throw his family into piles of excrement. I don't know if there's just like shit on the street, and then use tongs to pull his mouth open and shove shit in his mouth and make him eat it for stealing his. I don't know who did this, not the government. I think like other people or something. Like it was fucking.
You stole a sweet potato from somebody else.
I mean, how ravenous, crazy that you're eating your little brother that's 4. Like
Jesus Christ,
everybody looks like the fucking chicken leg from the cartoons. Like you're just losing your mind.
So then the cover up,
Leghorn,
right? At the city of Xinjiang in the central province in China, the post office they would open up everybody's mail, and they confiscated 1,200 letters sent to relatives begging for help and support for food. And all 1,200 of those people were rounded up by the government and disappeared. So they started to read people's mail. And
how much time they have to read mail? Fix your fucking problem.
Exactly, dude.
Mail.
Exactly. One thing in Tombstone said, when the Gangshuan County Post Office discovered an anonymous letter to Beijing disclosing starvation deaths, the Public Security Bureau began hunting down the writer. One of the post office's counterstaff recalled that a pockmarked woman had mailed the letter. The local Public Security Bureau rounded up and interrogated every pockmarked woman without identifying the culprit. It was subsequently determined that the writer worked in Zhangzhou and had written the letter upon returning to her home village and seeing people starving to death. So, I mean, that was the level of investigation they were doing to shut people up.
That's like seems so resource intensive and like labor intensive to have to fucking send people out to round up letter writers. I mean, I guess that puts no one's writing a letter after that.
Yeah.
Unless they're in a 9-year trance, then they can write 6,500.
That's true. And like you said, though, like anytime Mao would go to a village, they would take all the plants that were actually growing and plant them along the road. So he'd be like, oh, everything's great. And then there were like propaganda photos of children standing on like these big mounds of wheat. But it was actually like a table that they just put a little bit of wheat in front of because they didn't have enough wheat to take that propaganda photo. But yeah, so some of the desperation for obviously cannibalism, right? In Tombstone, it said that he had uncovered several thousand cases where people ate other people, parents ate their own kids ate their own parents, and we couldn't have imagined there was still grain in the warehouses, and that the government was exporting grain.
People died at the door of grain silos and shit. Like it's there, and they're not allowed to have it because it's being sold elsewhere.
Yep. One village that it was a different source that talked about, and this is fucking horrible. They witnessed someone went through a village and saw a big pit dug outside of the village. And when they got there, they saw that everybody was around the pit and they were taking their clothes off because they didn't want to get covered in mud. And in the mud was the mud was this bizarre white porcelain clay.
I did not read whatever the fuck this is.
They basically realized that there were nutrients in the clay. So the entire village went out, dug this pit. They took off their clothes. So the writer was talking about how you would just see these completely starving to death, emaciated, naked people climbing down into a clay pit, coming out covered in white clay, and that they were each able to retrieve a block of raw clay that they ate. But the problem was
constipation.
No, it never got to the constipation stage. They would eat the clay, and then as soon as the clay was being digested, the stomach just absorbed all the water from the clay. So now everyone died a slow, horrible death as the ceramic turned into cement in their intestines.
Oh my God. Well, that's constipation.
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
It's pre-constipation. But yeah, to be starving enough to just, and obviously it only happened once. Everybody was like, fuck it, let's eat the clay. Let's go do it. And then the first time they did it, everyone just started dying.
At least in this story, there's lessons here.
I literally think I've come across that like on YouTube, like in crazy diet like stuff when you look it up, that people eat clay today to do something like that, like to fucking, not to kill themselves, but there's something where you eat clay. I can't remember.
To make yourself feel full?
Yeah, like a digestive thing. Yeah.
I don't think it's the same clay though.
And there were the translator for the American version of Tombstone was talking, and she said one of the things that he talks about in the book was that there were certain officials who were able to save lives because they could ignore the central government's directives, and that they would they knew that, like, they basically started to figure out the game, and they were like, well, if we tell them this much grain, then they're going to punish us because we're telling them the truth. If we tell them this much grain, they're going to ask for us to export the grain. So they figured out like this sweet spot
Where
of
they kinda
lying.
left 'em
Like, we
alone.
lied to you about how much grain we created, just enough that you would leave us alone.
Right.
And then they went and took the grain that was there and evenly distributed it among the people in their province. And they kept their province alive by constantly lying to the central
When
government.
we're talking grain, what are we talking about? Like it's fucking wheat or
Probably
corn
wheat.
Or what? Yeah,
Wheat.
there's
Wheat, rice, anything.
anything,
like, yeah,
anything.
any
there's
type
just
of
like
grain.
fucking boiling wheat, like just eating boiled wheat and boiled rice.
Yeah.
I mean, better
You never
off
had
than
cream
fucking
of-
tree
you never had
bark or
cream of
your-
wheat and grits?
Yep.
or your
Yep.
kid.
You never had cream of wheat and grits?
Yeah. I'm just trying to
Wheat-
picture like.
I mean, wheat gluten is
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
protein, like wheat berries. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you could fully survive. Like, you would not die if you had access to a crop of wheat.
Right.
Like, you're good. Like, you're gonna.
just so wild. Like you don't think about us as animals. We are fucking animals, man.
But no,
That
but
was
she
just some-
she talked about one thing that he did uncover was there were a lot of provinces where they lied to Mao and they lied to the central government, and you could pinpoint this individual who was like, fuck it, we're gonna live. Like, I'm not letting my province die. I'm not letting.
You're gonna die anyway,
And they-
might as well die
and
fighting,
They
you know.
lied, and you know they were like, there, you know, we did see some silver linings that, you know, no matter how bad it got, there were areas that said fuck you and did what they could in a low key. Because if you fully said fuck you, you're just gonna get disappeared. But there were a lot of areas that figured out ways to game the system, keep feeding people. You know,
What year
cetera.
was Ip Man? That whole thing wasn't far off of that.
I think it would have been before this. I think it was. I don't remember.
It's
No,
like
it couldn't have
it's
been
like-
far
it's
off
like
of it
50s,
because
60s. It's around that, yeah.
well, I know he trained Bruce Lee, but I think he was older when he trained Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I want to say it was right after World War II or during, like, the first one. I want to say it was like World War II ish.
Right.
I want to say they were like, weren't
But
there
Bruce
like,
Lee, how
weren't
old was Bruce Lee in the
Japanese-
70s? Like,
weren't there Japanese soldiers
Yeah.
in Ip Man? So that would have been like Japanese occupation of China,
World War II. Yeah.
I'm guessing. I only saw it once. I don't remember.
it's crazy to see all the events, man. It would be cool, like, to have like a weird ass fucking show or movie where like H.H. Holmes is doing fucking shit and Tesla's doing shit.
Like
and people are fucking
just do
starving.
just do the show and call it 1960.
It's called
and
Earth,
it's like
1960.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
all of
show,
the
every
shit
episode
that's
is just this
fucking
random shit going on somewhere else in the
crazy.
world.
Yeah, some little
you
China
know.
girl starving, and this fucking dude's learning kung fu over here, and this fucking guy, you know, this guy's murdering people in a hotel,
Yeah.
and this guy's inventing the next thing. Like,
Fucking like John F. Kennedy's taking a speech
Yeah.
class. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like just fucking everything. Like, just see.
it's like the story of America, but it's like the story of Earth.
Right.
It's like it's just called Us,
Yeah.
and it just shows the fucking planet.
Because it's like, no, when I was because I did the research for the Hill abduction first, and when I was reading this, I was like, this is the same fucking year, man. This is the same year that
Same
they're
shit's
worried
going
about
on, yeah.
alien abductions, and you've got people eating their fucking parents,
Yeah.
and eating ceramic clay, and fucking.
It's the same thing. Like
Mao
what's going on
disappearing
right
people.
now while we're in here
Yeah,
recording
for
this?
sure.
Like we're talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
this shit, doing
Someone's
this.
getting fucking brutally murdered somewhere.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, in the next room
Someone's
later.
drowning.
Upstairs,
Someone's giving
something like
birth.
that, yeah.
Someone's fucking beating the shit out of their kid. Like
It's
there's
crazy. But what like large thing is going on? You know what I mean? There's
Right.
some sort of
Right.
large scale fucking crazy shit happening right now that we don't know about because it's happening right now.
But it's just, I mean, the control.
Tom
of
Cruise is saving
information-
us somewhere.
Yeah. The way that they were able to make, I mean, and again, like, I mean, I don't ever want to let Mao off the hook for this, but it's like a lot of the suppression of information was even just trying to suppress it from Mao.
Yeah.
It was like, he's going to be displeased with this information.
Yeah.
So no one in the province is going to know this. Mao's
Yeah.
not going to know it. The neighbors aren't
Well,
going to know it.
it's-
So there
it's-
was just so much lie and misinformation
Yeah.
for different reasons and on different levels that, I mean, this researcher who watched his father starve to death during the famine, it said it took him 10 years of hearing people talk about the famine all over China before he fucking made his saving throw and was like, wait a minute, there was
Fuck
a
it.
fucking starvation.
Yeah, he didn't
like
really
the
realize
whole
it.
nation
Yeah.
was dying.
He
And
didn't
then
realize it,
he
yeah.
started to look into it. And he said that while he was writing it, he said that he was boiling with anger and he wanted to do something about it more than just write. And he said that at some point he just went numb. He said, this is what I have to do is keep collecting data, write this book, and let China know what happened. And he said, I reached a point where I just had to go numb because every story was as awful as the last one, and I have a job to do.
Think about, I know that China's like modernized, but think what the suppression of information, like they control their internet. What's happening right now? Like, there's still like outside of cities, like this shit, like there could be still terrible things are probably happening that we don't know about.
I know that even recently, like when they fucking dammed up another river recently, and like entire fucking cities just got completely
crazy.
What's that we talked about? We talked about the trash. You know what I mean? Like there's no trash system. There's no like fuck, man.
Even
like,
when we did the thing on the garbage island.
In
the
where they
ocean.
throw it over the bridge.
The majority of it is all comes from China because there's no law or regulation. They just fucking,
and there's no system in place. Like there's no nothing. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Like and it got me thinking right now about like Jeff Bezos owning information, owning the data.
Right.
You know, like, and then you think about Google and Facebook, how Facebook's buying up Facebook, Instagram. They own this, they own that, and they're buying like a way to control information, basically. You know, the news is dying, you know, like it's like almost like a dying industry.
It's a weird thing, but there was a Billy Idol album called Cyberpunk that was very techno.
I'm Billy Idol.
That's good. He recorded the entire album on computers, and it was like the first time anyone had done that, you know? And like there's this opening sequence to the album where he's just talking. And he's talking like it's like, I don't know, like a little 2-minute speech he gives about this future. And he's basically talking about how in this future world that the album exists in, information is the only thing that matters. Information is power. Whoever controls the information controls the world. Yeah. And it's like hearing that in like 1992, you're like, that's a great theory. You know, William Gibson wrote about it.
Well, and you don't understand.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand how important data is. And it's like every time I hear about all these people consolidating data and how important information and the control of information is, I'm like, fucking, well, Billy Idol got it in 92. That was probably a whole lot of heroin to take him to that place. But
he's a time traveler.
Yeah.
He went back and taught himself guitar using his own books of easy chords and lyrics by Billy Idol.
Yeah.
And he said, in the future, information is important. And then Cyberpunk album came out.
He never played guitar, though.
But
Steve Stevens.
Not yet. But he will, Dave. That hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
He's predicting the future of the future.
But yeah, no, information is the most important thing there is. And data, I mean, even in my job, like I look at, like in the last 5 years, like everything is data driven. Everything.
Yeah.
Like we used to do, like you get tenure evaluation. Once you have tenure, every 3 years you go in and you know, it used to just be like, oh, the student said this, so work on this next time and you're all good. You haven't gone mad with power. You're still teaching your classes. People don't hate you. Keep doing what you're doing. And now it's like you have to write this actionable data report with desegregatable data, and you have to be able to be like, oh, this percentage of my students did this, and I found that when I did a lecture this way, I saw a 7% improvement over and it's like, it's all data. It's all fucking data driven, dude. That's the world we live
information.
Are you tracking that while you're teaching?
No.
I don't want to call you out on anything. Yeah.
No. You basically you're like, okay, what do I got to write in this report?
Yeah.
Okay. And then but I mean, I'm aware of it. There's like I do a couple of lessons per semester where you consciously say, okay, this is a pretest. So we haven't read a chapter, we haven't done anything, but I'm going to give them a test to see what they know about this thing. Then I'm going to do my lessons and give them a thing and have them practice it.
Yeah.
Then I do a post-test, and I can say on the pre-test, the average was a 27. On the post-test, the average was a 78. Right. Look what a success I am. So I do that. I do that once a semester or once a year just so I have some data that I can fucking throw out there. But I mean, some people do that. Some people honestly do that with most of their assignments. They're like, oh, I need to teach this concept. I'm going to do a pre-test content post-test and see how I compared to last semester.
That's a trip. You never think your professors are doing shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you think it's everything you can do to grade my fucking paper.
And, but I mean,
gathering
the other thing is it gets fucking easier and easier. It's like now we use Canvas, and it's like that data is just
does
there.
it for you.
Like it's there.
It's
I just have
taking
to,
all the results and all the results.
I can look and I can find it, and it doesn't,
you can probably get a bar graph of fucking what the student did.
it's not as hard to do, but it's the whole fucking world runs on that data. And again, it's like that data is probably stored on the cloud that is either infrastructure owned by either Bezos or Google. Like that tends to be where most cloud storage
or Apple
is.
might
Or
own
Apple
some
might
shit,
own some of it. So one of those three companies is housing the data that we own, and therefore they have access to the data, and they know what percent my students improved last semester. So if they need some metadata, they've got it, and that's crazy.
It's all information. I mean, the information is key to everything because I mean, it's the reason why Bill Gates wants to track everybody. You know what I mean? Like if you know where everybody's at, you know what I mean? That information is invaluable. Like there's so many little things. Like, I mean, if you don't have access to information that shows you the truth, you believe whatever you're told.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
It is, it's just crazy.
And that's part of the, it's one of the things I hate about the nature of the news right now.
Yeah.
Because whether you're whether you're left wing, right wing, or in the middle, there is a flavor for you that exists.
And
I read these magazines,
your
I look at this newspaper, and I watch these stations, and I see these news feeds. So it's
feeding that side.
My preference is
side,
always supported by data, which is probably distorted.
And it's targeted.
It's targeted. It's distorted,
For
and
sure.
it tickles. Yeah, it tickles my innards.
And the other thing is,
everybody thinks they're even more right because there's no more news in the middle that says, "No, you guys are full of shit. This is the truth."
Well,
there's no more that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, and even now, like, if it's not A, B, or C news, a newspaper or whatever the fuck that's like trusted. Now it's like, oh, we got this news source. Look at they're actually being non-biased, and this is the actual just information.
Right.
Who the fuck are they?
Right.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, damn, like you can't fucking, you can't win for losing.
You
You know,
can't
like
win.
it's fucking crazy.
No.
So yeah, I don't know, man. That is a sad. I mean, that right there though is why knowing history is important.
It's crucial.
Because knowing, just looking at how they manipulated data, or not data, but I guess it is data and stats and information by doing that, they were able to control, and also by fear, control a population into killing themselves. Technically,
right.
I mean, that's what they did
in order to industrialize the country. And guess what? Country's industrialized. Good job, Mao. I guess.
Thanks. I think you could have done it. I think you could have done it another way.
Yeah, your backyard smelting didn't quite pan out like you hoped, but I mean,
but you do have a bunch of tanks, and you can probably fuck us up.
Yeah.
There's enough people they can build like a land bridge, like ants, and just fucking arm to arm go across the ocean and traverse it and stomp us. There might be enough. Fucking scary.
So anyway, that's the famine. It's fucking crazy. It's impossible to point to a single thing except maybe Mao, but it's just so many factors that fed into it.
Well, he definitely was the cause.
He
definitely was the cause. I mean, everything else was a byproduct of his iron fist.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah. It was either some shit he was doing on purpose, or people were so afraid of him and his iron fist that they were willing to lie and make things worse.
Yeah, they were afraid of him. And you're right. I wasn't getting that at first, but now I understand. Like, okay, it's his fault because he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Right.
And everybody else is afraid, and he's just like, oh, everything's all as well. Fucking let's get rid of everything.
He was just all in on so many bad scientific theories.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, I mean, just like, oh, we'll get all of them to make metal in their backyard. He's like, we're all in on that. Okay. Bad news, Mao. All the metal sucks. Okay, well, at least those crops are growing now that we followed that science about planting deeper.
They're going.
Oh, yeah. Planting deeper, working great.
Yeah, and then they're like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Well, it's like,
oh, shit.
It's basically strict parents. Like, your kids are going to hide shit from you if you're fucking over.
If you're over.
Right. Yeah.
They're not going to tell you everything.
Yeah, if they know you're going to beat them to death when they drink, they're definitely not calling you when they're fucking when their friend's drunk and almost dying of alcohol poisoning. You know. Yeah.
So no, crazy story. I mean, I never even fucking heard of it, and it's horrible.
I mean, you hear about it. Like, I've heard the Chinese famine. You hear about, like, the famine that
I don't even remember hearing about it. I knew about the Stalin famine, but I don't remember.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I've seen something. Maybe I've seen something on the History Channel or something like.
I feel really guilty right now because I've only had a cookie to eat today, and I want to say I'm starving, but I can't even use that phrase.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty. I could use some food.
I had Del Taco before we recorded, and I'm already hungry.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm hungry.
There's a lot of work here. There's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That'll work. Brain's ticking away.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
So, social media winner, episode 519, Frank Matthews, the Black Caesar, is going to be. Oh, look at this, Kristen Hintz. Kristen Hintz is going to
Heinze.
Yeah.
Heinze.
Wow, she's been getting a lot of.
Katie Scary at 851 is going to win a sticker pack for interacting on Instagram from Print Dirt Cheap. So Frankie Pigeon is going to reach out to you, and you're going to get some stickers from Print Dirt Cheap. I will put them in an envelope, and Brad's going to, I don't know, I'm going to let Brad take it in another room. Who knows what's going to happen to it? And then we'll seal it, and then we'll send it to you.
That's what we always do.
That's how Brad does it. That's how sticker packs happen.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what
That's why
happens.
they're sticky.
Yeah, why do you think they're sticky?
Yeah.
We
They
get
just
them.
send-
We
they
get them from
send us-
Print Dirt Cheap. They're
Yeah.
just plain paper.
Yeah, it's just paper,
Yeah.
and then after I'm done with them, they're glossy and sticky. I just put it back on
They're
them.
just
You know what I mean?
cutouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were cutouts before. So that's on its way. Also, we're part of the Podbelly Podcast Network. Go to podbelly.com to check out cool podcasts like Ectoplasm, which Dave and Brad have both been on. I never got invited. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
I'm in the middle of the ectoplasm episode.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I
I've
don't
been
have
listening to it while you record today.
Of what ectoplasm episode?
The one that you were on.
Oh, the one I was on.
I need to listen to that. Someone was complimenting you today. Actually, it said that you should do more guest spots because that your Ectoplasm episode was the bomb or something like that. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I did get invited, but it's like mid-October or something. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'm gonna bring my mom on there.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, because she has better ghost stories than me.
Yeah.
But I did
just
live
tell her
through
to
it.
cross her legs when she's
Yeah,
sitting here.
cross your legs when you're doing it. Don't
Jesus
do the.
Christ.
Not like Sharon Stone style,
Yeah.
just like
That's how she does it.
Yeah. She opens and then closes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Real slow.
Puts out a fire.
Oh man, that's my mom.
There's nothing else to say about that. That's my mom.
So also on Podbelly, you can go check out Art and Jacob Do America podcast, the local guys. But coincidentally, their names are Art and Jacob. They talk about a lot of stuff we talk about. They throw some sports and stuff in there too and have some guests on. But a lot of people like that podcast.
that was good casting.
Cool guys. Yeah, it's good casting.
Like whoever cast that podcast, like it's rare to find like we already were
The
calling
same
it Art and
names.
Jacob,
Yeah.
and like the two guys we hired are
That's how it
Art
happened,
and
actually.
Jacob.
It
Yeah.
was like Woody Harrelson in Cheers.
Yeah.
Like, they already had Woody written, and it just so happened.
Worked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're starting Billiam and Jonathon, but you know,
Tom, that's a
Good
new one.
luck.
Jimmy.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right. Also, we are sponsored by
Jamesathan.
El Yucateco Hot Sauce. That is our primary sponsor. They are at most major grocery stores. You can find it at Walmart, Target, on them internets. It's on the Amazon. It's on the eBay. It's at mexgrocer.co.uk.
What about Andiel?
Andiel? What's the other name?
Daniel and Andy? No. No.
Dandy is way better.
Dandy?
Dandy's
Oh,
better,
Dandy.
yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
You had it backwards.
There we go. That's good.
So
Sorry.
if you see
Had to get there. Had to
see
get
the hot
there.
sauce in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wild, take a picture of it, tag us, tag them, put it on social media. Every Friday we post a hot sack and we ask that you just go show us what you made with El Yucateco, and we give away a crazy prize pack that has t-shirts and like fucking El Yucateco shot glasses or keychains or mini sauces and stickers and all kinds of shit in there.
9mm.
9mm. Yeah. Not bullets. It's a different object. It's 9mm. Not bullets.
It's a video.
Yeah, it's a video. Slightly better than 8mm.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a wider. It won't work. Don't try to put it in your camera.
not-
It's not gonna
Low
work.
9, they call it.
Yeah.
Low 9.
Low 9 instead of
Yeah.
high 8.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So do that. Let them know that we sent you there. Go over to their social media and say at Sofa King Podcast sent me. We do pick prizes for that as well, and they love it when you blow their phone up. You need to make their phone vibrate off the table because you blow up their. Someone went crazy. I need to find their name. I should still send them some stickers for the effort now that I'm committing to it. But there was like 79 tags on our Instagram. Did you see that? They've got
On
tagged.
ours?
Yeah, like I was like, what in the fuck just happened? Somebody blew something up. So I opened it, and I don't know.
Somebody
the name
just
right
lost
now.
a lot of followers.
Somebody like tagged the wrong El Yucateco. It was like the El Yucateco chili, like the one in it's like El Yucateco dot chili or something, not LA, not the one _ hot sauce.
Yeah.
Because there's other marketing, like there's other areas, and so globally they were tagging the wrong one. So some guy in Chile was like,
Oh, thanks.
"Okay." That's Speak a little Spanish. All right. So anyways, also check out Print Dirt Cheap. Go to printdirtcheap.com and use code Sofa King Podcast to save some money. If you need stickers or printed goods, they can do it. They can find it. Check them out. Also go to Jimmy D's Tees. You can get him across social media at that handle, as well as jimmydstees.com. He sells t-shirts. He can make t-shirts. If you have a business or a band or a podcast or a need for t-shirts or printed goods, like silkscreen stuff, he does he makes the Retro Vague vinyl hats, like our trucker hats. So he does all kinds of cool stuff. He can do he has like a thing called a blot printer. He can do pint glasses, coffee mugs. There's a bunch of cool stuff he does. And he's a cool guy and he does great work. So go check him out at Jimmy D's Tees and let him know that we sent you over there. Also check out SKR Apparel. That is SUIKER apparel.com. Lots of cool stuff over there and cool person making it. So also check out retrovague.com if you're into 80s stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. And I think that is all that I have today.
Well, we have a new Skull Member of the Month. We're trying to decide if we don't really know who's been Skull Member of the Month in the past, so we're just guessing. It's new.
There's a list somewhere.
There is a list somewhere. We don't have it in front of us. So it is none other, and you all might know her and you might not, but it is. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I do.
What are you waiting for?
Bells.
What's Dave? Dave with a bell too?
I
he
know.
hated the bells.
He's repressing his radio voice right now. He's like, fine, I'll fucking do the bell. Say the name, I'll do the bell.
That's
I
Nancy
ding every
Lockett.
time we say their name.
I did. He missed it.
When are you going to say it?
I already said it.
Who is it?
Dave rang his bell.
I'm confused.
It's Nancy Lockett.
Man, these bells suck.
If you got a small cock, she's gonna mock it. That's what. Yeah.
Oh, is that
There
what
you
it
go.
is? Yeah.
And if it's big, she's gonna put it in her pocket, vagina.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah.
Called the cock pocket.
Yeah, cock pocket. Cock pockets. Yeah. That's somebody's getting that stuck in their head.
That's somebody's ringtone.
Yeah,
now.
somebody's getting that stuck in their head. Yeah, and she gets the cock stuck in her head coincidentally.
Yeah.
It just goes right in and out.
Never think about your mouth as your head, and you got that thing stuck in your head.
It is, though. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting She over exaggerates. She's like, I got stabbed in my face a bunch of times, and you're like, what? She was just giving somebody head.
Right.
It's crazy, but. Anyway, thank you.
If all else fails, make dick jokes about the person. That's our motto. That's how we do it.
That's what we've done since the beginning.
By
We
design.
can't change it up.
Have we?
It started out that way.
He turned to Shaggy over there. Like, whoa.
Got a sandwich, Scoob. Yeah.
Sandwich.
I mean-
Scooby snacks.
Yeah, sandwich. They eat
Is that
big
for
sandwiches.
Yeah, big tall
They do eat
sandwiches.
those big
Yeah.
ass sandwiches.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
My dog got the bark box, had the giant sandwich in it.
Did it?
Yeah.
Like it was a chewy
Yeah, it was like a
plush
fucking
sandwich.
had like a
Yeah.
Pretty funny because that was such a stoner reference. Like he's clearly a stoner and he's
Yeah.
always got the munchies.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He wants the Scooby
100%.
snacks, giant sandwiches. He's
Yeah.
always trying to eat.
100%.
Yeah.
I even knew that as a kid.
Well, and Scooby's a stoner too. He's a fucking dog, but he's high all the time. He has to be.
I feel like you do a Scooby impression.
I do not.
No, like
Not a good one. I mean, I do
Yeah.
as
Lots of
bad as
R's,
anybody
yeah.
else's. Yeah.
My Shaggy
Yeah.
was spot
It was
on.
good. Yours
Yeah,
was
it's
good
pretty
Shaggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You could have played.
Oh,
Shaggy.
were you here that you like? Didn't you identify Shaggy with me? Aren't you the one that spotted the Shaggy guy that walks by?
Yeah.
That motherfucker looks like real life Shaggy, dude.
Like the guy, like the guy from the Scooby Doo movie, like the
Better.
live action,
better
Oh,
because
dude,
it's
it was-
like
He looks like the
Oh, it was
cartoon
spot on.
version,
he's
but
just
real.
walking around the world looking like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny.
He's not even
Yeah.
trying.
Oh,
Now, if
Anyway.
he was like rocking with a dog, fuck, dude.
he needs a Great Dane.
Yeah, he does.
You should tell him.
Is Scooby Doo a Great Dane?
Yeah.
Yes, he is, huh?
Great
Yeah,
Dane.
probably.
He's
Maybe a
Great Dane.
mix.
No, he's a Great Dane. That's
Think
what
for
he's
Great Dane?
based off of.
All
Yeah.
right.
I'm gonna look it up while you're looking.
Anyway, thank you, Nancy. A little off topic there, but that's normal.
Well, she loves a good Scooby snack.
Oh,
so,
for sure. Yeah. She loves them.
You could have gone. You could have like, if there's a shelf, she'll stock it. There's all kinds of stuff you probably could have done without
I
talking
did.
about dicks.
Yeah.
Why would that happen?
But it would have
there's
been
a
it would have been
shelf,
dishonest
yeah.
though.
Yeah,
if we're
yeah,
being
yeah.
honest because
Yeah.
she loves dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're rhyming all over the place.
Yeah.
What kind of
So-
dog is Scooby Doo?
This is important information.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
he's a great Dane.
Yeah. If you're on Reddit, go to /Sofa King Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
That's impressive.
We are at Sofa King Podcast. And personal Instagrams, I'm at Raised with Wolves. You have Sofa King Brent and Sofa King Dave. Also check out _hot sauce. Check out Jimmy D's Teas. Check out Podbelly, and go there and like and comment and all that good stuff. And win free shit. SofaKingPodcast.com /Sofa King Podcast.
If there's a door, she would knock it.
Yeah. Yep.
If there's a Davy, she'd crock it.
There's a flavor, she'd clock it.
Yeah.
Davy, she'd crock it. I should get some more love for that one. That was
I
good.
should get more love for flavor on the clock.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, because Flavor Flav clock necklace.
right.
I feel like that's a reach. Davy Crockett was there.
That's because you're on the wrong tier. You're on
Yeah,
a Davy
maybe.
Crockett tier, not
I
a
am,
Flavor
yeah.
Flav
I'm
tier.
over here with the raccoon cap and shit.
Yeah. If she's got a loogie, she'll hawk it.
Yeah,
There you
I like
go.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah.
I said SofaKingPodcast.com /Sofa King
If there's a Jimmy, she'll
Podcast.com.
jock
That's
it.
the wrong website. There's a Jimmy, she'll jock it.
Yeah. That's Beastie
what?
Boys talk.
I'd go with
Is
that.
it?
Yeah.
All right, that'll work. That'll work. But it's patreon.com /Sofa King Podcast.
www.
For all the bonus. Yeah. www.com, the original website. For our bonus episodes. What do we do this week? We just
If
take
there's an
questions
eyeball,
or
she'll
some
sock it.
Q&A.
You know, we already said, yeah, if there's a light bulb, she'll put it in the socket.
No, I mean, that's too many syllables.
Is
There's a
there?
lot of syllables. Yeah.
It could be as many syllables. That was a haiku.
Was it? Dave's counting. Dave's eyes went up. He's like,
I was actually looking at the lamp.
oh.
Spotify playlist, Sofa King Podcast 2020. That's pretty much it. Don't be retarded.
You made a mistake. You made a mistake. All said and done, but I'm happy that you came. I wasn't the one, so you threw it all away. For a minute, I was fucked up. I'm happy that I changed. You made me wanna scream. I hope you have a hard time getting over me. You spent all that time getting close to me. I know I should have been a dog like I'm supposed to be. All this trauma made me crazy, stressing out my mental. Really should've did you crazy, should've disrespect you. You really fucked up. Now the next bitch finna look up. When you're riding in the whip with your loved ones, I hope the sound of my voice make you feel love, feel tough. You really fucked up. Now a young nigga making big bucks. We could've conquered this shit and had real love. All the sound of my voice make you feel love, feel some. All this trauma made me crazy, stressing out my mental. I really should have did you crazy, but I still respect you. You made a mistake. You made a mistake. All said and done, but I'm happy that you came. I wasn't the one, so you threw it all away. For a minute, I was fucked up. I'm happy that I changed. You made me wanna scream.